I'm Jake the Film Guy, and I am the most daring filmmaker this side of the Mississippi. I'm also the most humble. During the daytime, I do videos for businesses, animated or live action, because there are no shortages of businesses in our backyard or your backyard. People need your skill set as a filmmaker, as a video producer, and I think it's a really good opportunity, not just for me, but for you to go and learn how to pitch your abilities to those people in your backyard, because I think those skills will translate later down the road when you get to that point where you're in front of the studio executives and you've got that story, whether it's a film or a TV series, and you need to be able to sell the idea and get people on board with it. So pick up your camera, go find somebody in your backyard. That's what I do by day so that I continue to grow as a producer, because I want to make my series into reality and teach other micro-budget filmmakers how to do that. Batman Returns, 1992, it came out. I loved Batman as a kid, and then I saw my hero on the big screen, and I didn't know a thing about it, but I knew I've somehow got to be a part of what it takes to make that movie onto the big screen. And that's where the obsession started. When I was 6 years old, and by the time I was in third grade, I remember writing stories and drawing cartoons with me as the director and Michael Keaton as the star, because he was the guy. He was Batman. This was way before Christian Bale, of course, or even Val Kilmer and George Clooney. That's where I found my love for filmmaking. So when you tell people what you're passionate about and you do it with energy and excitement, people want to get behind that because it's contagious. It spreads. And when you tell people you want to be a filmmaker and that you want to make movies, people look for opportunities to find that old camcorder in the backyard or whatever it is that they have lying around. They dust it off, they give it to you, and they say, hey, have at it, kid. That's how I got started. It's just from the goodwill, the good Samaritans that I grew up with that wanted to help a kid follow his dream. And all in all, I'd say for the last 20 years, with whatever tools I had in front of me, I've been trying to create short videos, and I hope I'm doing it until I'm a floating head in a glass jar, kind of like in Futurama. I joined the Air Force when I was 21, so looking back now, that's 10 years and a little bit of change. It feels like a lifetime ago. So much has happened since then. Met my wife, started my business, I have my son. I joined the service as a young man because it was, I believe with my whole heart, a calling. For me, at the very least, it was the strongest gut feeling I've ever had in my life. From the time I was 17 and Band of Brothers was rocking the TV stations at the time, I fell in love with the military. Man, that series romanticized the military. I loved it so much. I was convinced I was going to be an airborne ranger jumping out of planes. Come to find out, they don't do that as much as they did back in World War II. That's kind of an antiquated approach. Nonetheless, finally landed on the Air Force. I was going to be a vehicle mechanic because my background was in math as a student. That's what I did even when I got out of the Air Force. I taught math before doing video and film full time. But I chose a skill that was going to allow me and teach me how to work hard by the sweat of my brow. I don't have any regrets doing that. My time in the Air Force sharpened me. It made me more resilient. It taught me the value of hard work, but my base was closing. So after 3 years, I volunteered to get out. And I had another gut feeling, and I'm glad I followed it, because months later, literally, I met my wife, and a year later, we were married. If I hadn't made that leap of faith and left the military when I did, if I hadn't said, I'll get out, I might have never met her, which means I wouldn't have my son. And that's a scary thought indeed. A couple of years ago, I got the itch to do a feature film. It was a micro-budget Western called 12 Till Dusk. Every filmmaker at some point, after doing so many short films and videos, wants to take that leap of faith. And so I did as well. I gathered a great team in Utah. A lot of volunteers came and poured in blood, sweat, and tears, and we pulled this thing off. You can watch it on YouTube. It is certainly the micro-budget of micro-budget modern-day Westerns, 12 Till Dusk. Once I got through that, I found a staff job at a church in Vegas. I was able to do a lot of video producing with that church, and I'm thankful for the experience I had there. Once I started transitioning out of that role, I started trying to figure out what would be that next project. And it took me a long time to settle on Powers and Principalities. After listening to a lot of people that are older and wiser than me, what I've decided is it's good to focus on one thing. So I'm not going to work on any other project until I see Powers and Principalities come to fruition. Powers and Principalities is a passion project, but more than that, it's a TV series about an ex-Air Force medic. She's got PTSD, but also this ability to see angels and demons, and she has to confront this dark power that wants to double down on suicide, murder, death, and destruction, all manner of grisly things. For you, my fellow filmmaker, my fellow micro-budget filmmaker, you're going to hear a lot of people say, don't quit, you can do it, follow your dreams. Well, there's truth and then there's untruth to all of that, and you got to learn to find where the middle line is. You know what happens when you quit, but you don't know what's going to happen when you continue to persevere. Take the time to go through the rejections, to find that one producer, that one production company, or that one studio that will take your project to the next level. Best time of our lives to be a part of film and video. 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, none of us had the tools that we do now. I'm excited to be a part of this industry. I'm going to borrow from Robert Rodriguez because he's absolutely right when he says, your first 40 films are going to be crappy. Get them out of the way now while you can. That practice, that repetition, that's what's going to fine-tune your engine. That's going to help you see how you work as a director or a producer and a screenwriter, whatever the case may be. If you ever need advice or encouragement, the material's there for you, and I'm not the only one. This is a community of like-minded people that want to see you succeed. I certainly want to see you succeed, but it rests on your decision and your determination to have grit. Don't quit.
Got it.
Alright, settle.
Ready, and action!
Sam's the man.
I'm just Jake the film guy. Sam is the man. He's got his own casino and hotel, Sam's Town.
And he has his own warehouse. Sam's Club.
And you got the beer too, Samuel Adams. I'm grasping at straws here. Sam the man.
Oh wow.